Okay, let's talk Philly. My name's Greg and you are watching How to Play Paintball. Thank you so much to PunishersPB.com for sponsoring this video. Head over to their website, check out the latest deals. They also do have a used section, so that way if you're maybe on a budget, you need to get something a little bit cheaper, but still a great product, they're gonna take care of you that way. So the last thing I'll say before we jump into this as well is that there is still time to enter the M3 Plus giveaway that's benefiting Bright Initiative. So go over to ruthlesspaintballproducts.com, search for raffle, and you'll be able to go ahead and get entered for your chance to win one of 3 great prizes, with the top prize being that M3 Plus. Okay, enough of the business and all of that out of the way. Let's get into this layout. I was definitely intrigued, I guess is the way that I could say this, with this snake over here. As I've looked at it more and more, I think I've liked it more and more. So let's go through again. This is just something to help you out with some first impressions. Some of these shots might not be here. There are probably going to be other ones that you find later on. And also, this is from that top-down view. So when you actually get down to walking the layout, you're always going to find those little things like, oh, if I take a step back, I can shoot this. Or if I move back here, I'm actually protected from this other person that's trying to shoot at me. So all that being said, take all this with a grain of salt, but at least it'll be something that'll help you out. What we'll do is go from the back line, and then I think I have it where it's Dorito, snake, and the middle. It might be the other way around. I guess we'll see as I go through this, and then we'll go over some possible bounce shots that you can go ahead and test out. So let's start off. So from this back center, so the back center is an Aztec, which I think is going to be interesting because you can stand up over the top. You are going to have some shots going back into you. I didn't draw that here, but because it's an Aztec, you can shoot back at your mirror and even skim up over the top of this giant brick that's here if someone's trying to run up. If you are laning and you take a step off the box, you can shoot through here. I think that players that try to go wide, you're going to have a couple different routes. It's going to be interesting to see how is it that you can best pick up these runners, just because there's a lot that they can do. But you do have a sliver that you can come shoot through here. You might have to kind of thread the needle a little bit more or drop it over the top of that corner. But if someone's trying to go over into that little Dorito, you might be able to catch them. Or maybe they're trying to make a deep route, something different. You do have this shot here, so if someone is already up in the Doritos, you can at least have eyes that way to see just looking at this green line. Of course, you have this heads up shot coming straight through here. It's not necessarily going to be blind because these are little bricks, but you are shooting up over the top of that little brick and it drops into there. Now this is going to be a harder shot because it's so close. So if someone's delaying and then going up, this could be something that you could have a chance of eliminating that Dorito. Now that being said, the player going into the Dorito, know that you have a couple of different routes. You can dive straight in, take a deeper route, go up. So watch how it is that they're setting up on the box, and you'll be able to see that. There will be a video on watching the box. I already filmed it, so I need to just figure out when I'm going to release that. So that being said, it's just something to look forward to. This snake side. So it looks like there's a little bit better shots on the snake side for the back center at least. Shooting through here, you are going to be able to shoot past. Now, again, this is not going to be as easy. I think you might be able to drop it up. Actually, no, these are cans. You won't be able to shoot up over the top. So this shot through here, again, if you're the one that's running out, just check and see where the paint's at. I mean, it could be that you have to go up and across or take the deep route, but that shot is there. So you do need to book it out of there. You can't just kind of float back here necessarily. You might be able to if you have some people that are shooting back at this back center player. Shooting through to the snake, you do have a shot into this snake 1. And this snake is interesting. I think that once people get in here, I would just assume that they're going to be in the 50 snake or in your snake 2, I guess is what this would be, or maybe even this brick. It might be better for them to be in here. We'll have to see how all that plays out. But I had this dash here because you can actually shoot the deep shot as well if someone's trying to go down, maybe around the snake corner and up. It's a possibility, but I'm not really a huge fan of this cake, at least right now. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Shooting through here, you do have a little bit of a drop shot into what we'll call, well, that wouldn't necessarily be the God bunker, but we'll just call it the brick. That's what it is. And then if they are in the snake shooting through here, you're gonna have to stand a little bit taller and shoot down. They might still be able to get low enough and come around, but you might be able to catch a pack. From the can, you do have this shot through here. I think that this gap is probably gonna be the one, it'll be this one and maybe one other that I think is gonna be maybe a little bit harder than some people think it will be to get through. Now, if you go up and across, then yeah, you're gonna have to get sneaky through here. But there's a couple people that can shoot this gap, so you wanna be careful of that. Shooting through here, again, you're super threading the needle, but maybe this player is hanging out a little bit. The slope does go towards the middle of the field, so maybe their head is showing a little bit more, you can shoot through there, maybe eliminate that player. This drop shot here, again, could just be something that you throw, maybe someone puts you in and you're trying to just have something in the air and you go ahead and shoot at that Dorito. Remember with all of these that they have those same shots back, just a heads up. Now the heads up shot, speaking of heads up, for this can, of course you can shoot at your mirror. You can shoot out into this zone here, and then if they're trying to wrap. I don't see this being a super helpful bunker for someone that's already in the snake. If your player is here, people can get through here, and it doesn't really look like it's gonna be helpful to stay here if you're a back player. It might be something that you use as a way of maybe shutting this lane down. I think there's probably gonna be other spots that are better, but we'll have to see. With this Dorito 1, looks pretty useful actually. So this shot through here is not going to be easy, but you could maybe set up and shoot through there. Of course, you have the shot through this 50 zone here on the Dorito side. So if someone's trying to maybe wrap, maybe you're shooting this cross shot and then you can switch and shoot that heads up. The heads up here into wrapping a little bit into this tower. Maybe there's someone that's posted there, could be something. But yeah, this zone and this zone, if I remember correctly, are gonna be the ones that are gonna be kind of tough. If you're shooting through here, I have this here because it helps to know who is it that can shoot into this middle. If someone's trying to delay, crawl up, and then dive across, or out and up doing something crazy, at least you might be able to catch them, or at least see that they went up into this brick and then they're trying to bait someone. Shooting through here, again, is gonna be definitely a thread the needle kind of shot, but you do have a shot into the snake, and then with this snake here, this snake shot, you can shoot through, and if someone's hanging out back here, again, I don't see it being that you could drop the shot over and clip someone unless they have it where, like, you know, like if this was the pods and they put the pod in the middle, maybe it sticks up enough, but even that, I don't know. If they get low enough, they might be able to kind of, you know, there's some super tiny people out there, so it could just be that they just get low enough. Okay, yeah, this is what I was doing. So I'm gonna go on the outside and then I'll go into these wings. So for the Dorito corner is what we'll call it, is a tower. So you're gonna be able to stand up and shoot a little bit more. You have a little bit more options because you can stand a little bit taller and shoot through here. Now this gap is really the only thing that I'm seeing that you're gonna be able to help your Dorito side player. Once they get past here, you probably shouldn't stay there, or you need to switch to a different job, because yeah, you can wrap on here, but then once they're over, you know, they're gonna be able to kind of catch you. If you're wrapping hard, they can, I think, thread the needle through here and be able to eliminate you there. So I don't see it being that you would stop them, because if they get low enough, they can just crawl straight up. I don't see this tower being something that is going to be helpful to stop the Dorito side, other than this gap. I think there's probably some other spots that can do it, but let's say that that's part of your play. The inside shot here, you do have that inside into that middle zone again. This one might actually not be bad to shoot this way, just because you can shoot through the middle. You can actually have this drop shot through this zone. Now, if you're skimming the top, it's probably gonna drop about here. If you pull up a little bit higher, I think it should drop lower, but all in this zone right here should be something that you can shoot at. You'll have to test that at the field. And then you do have a shot going into that brick. So again, maybe someone's trying to dive out and you see them leave, you can shoot that next gap and maybe catch them there if you didn't catch them here. Into the snake itself, This one you might, this is a very big might be able to, if you do the weird stand up and hold your gun super high, drop into this 50 snake. Now, is that going to be super effective? Who knows? But we will, I guess, just have to, that's why we go out and practice, right? And then you do have that shot on the outside. So this brick, if there's someone here, that's going to be someone that, because even if you try to get low and crawl, I think it should be dropping low enough that you wouldn't be able to do that. So just know that this guy might be an issue. This little Dorito isn't super useful. You do have this shot, so maybe if you went from here to here and then shot through that gap again, you're able to at least help a little bit more. You do have some wrap shots going into this little brick and the back center and then into the snake, but that's only going to be if their head is popped up. I don't know that I would stay here for too long. I would want to take as much ground as you can and kind of surprise people. Just the way that this Dorito side, actually the whole field is kind of looking like, but especially this D side with all this craziness going on. This next big Dorito, I didn't put it for every single one of them, but you can shoot through this tape. So every single one of these you can shoot the tape. So I'm not gonna keep drawing a line until it turns black. So just remember that. You do have a wrap shot where if someone is trying to maybe stick out, you can maybe surprise them and then wrap and shoot into this brick. And then you do have that zone going into that snake as well. So that's important. Like that's something that you want it to be, that who has eyes on someone going into the snake, considering that once they get in, it's not like you can see someone bumping up because the snake is kind of like that and then they can crawl around. The next Dorito, if you wrap, I think you're going to be able to shoot through into the tower. Now this is something that maybe they're shooting at you and you get low enough, crawl up. Obviously be mindful of the middle, but let's say that they were doing that, you'd be able to come up and maybe surprise them through here. And then maybe wrap and you can shoot at this other Dorito. Those inside shots are going to be better here. This snake one is going to be not as great just because, again, they have a big thing blocking them and they just need to poke their head down or pop their head down, but you do have that shot there. So maybe you get there and they just got into the snake. You know, maybe you did some kind of crazy run and then shot across. I don't know. And then shooting through here into this tower and into the can. So this Dorito is pretty solid because you are able to kind of turret. You can kind of sit and shoot into a couple gaps. This one's going to be a little bit blind. Actually, I didn't even realize that. You could actually shoot over the top into the back center. If you switch hands, you can shoot more into these gaps. So that Dorito, I think, should be pretty solid. This next Dorito, obviously, once you get to their side, it's always going to be best. So shoot into that tower again, wrap, and be able to get just better shots on people. This same shot here, remember they have the same shot back. So you don't want it to be that they catch you sleeping because you make a great move and then just play loose and then you get roasted. And yeah, so we'll go there. Let's go into this section, make sure that everything is in frame there. Okay, so this brick I thought was going to be better than it is. It could be a good starting point, but it's all low through here. So it's not necessarily going to be easy, but because you can come up and then just start shooting through this lane and through this lane, at least having pressure across this way might be enough that it forces them to, you know, just have to fight a lot more. And if they slip a little bit, then you'll be able to catch them. But that gap that you can hold from there, if you just have a bunch of paint, I know it might be boring, but if you just sit there and pump paint through there, could be beneficial, and then come up into the tower. Again, this is all first impressions here. Then we have the straight shot through that gap. And then if you switch over to the snake side, it's not as good. You have this gap through here, so if there is someone that's delaying, you can shoot that gap, but it's all gonna be blind. I'm sorry, it's blind to if they're moving out or not, so you'd have to have paint in the air. Over here, you're skimming over the top of the beam, so if they stay low enough and dive, you might not even be able to see them. I'd have to get on the field to see, but this pin and can situation here might block you out, so might not necessarily be the best. But maybe Dorito side, you're able to help a little bit more. This first wing, remember that with this first wing, the slant is going down into the middle of the field. So this side over on this tape side is going to be going straight up and down. So you're going to be able to shoot through that gap. again, with all of these gaps, you're gonna have to full commit, make sure that you're checking people off, and then just dive as hard as you can. It might not even be one of those where you can bait someone because the gaps aren't super big. It could be that you need to just sit there and just pump paint, which I know can be boring. Sometimes it's fun just to sit there and shoot. Sometimes it's like, I wanna get up in their face. but yeah, so there's that shot. On the inside, remember there's that slant, so you're gonna have a little bit higher of a shot that you can shoot through. Into that can, you can shoot through here. Now I have this dash here because if for some reason, and I don't know how much this little W will be used, but you know, doesn't hurt to look, through this snake 2 and then into that little W, you would have that. Now if they're really tucked in and on the tape side, I don't know that you're gonna be able to shoot them, but maybe you see them try to dive or someone calls it and you're able to shoot that way. This next W, now with these, I'm sorry, not W, the wing, the slants are going out to the tape side. So it's not going to be as easy necessarily to fight people out of a Dorito that are shooting back at you, but you do have that gap and you do have this gap. This one, I would maybe even just get low and start shooting because they can shoot through the top and that little slant might block them out enough that you might get caught. So if you get low enough, you should be able just to sit here on this gap. Might be kind of boring, but maybe you're trying to kill time and then you dive across. Just, again, options. The inside shots aren't too bad. Again, at the home, the brick, I guess we'll call this one the God, the Aztec, and then shooting into this other brick. So, you know, you do have some shots, but I don't really have my opinion yet of how I think this is gonna break down, but I guess we'll just have to keep trucking along. But yeah, maybe you use this as a way to try to shut down the Dorito side and then force it where they have to go into the middle. I don't know, but that's what practice is for. And then of course, when you get to their side, you're able to shoot obviously that gap, the heads up, you can wrap into this Dorito, you can shoot into the inside, be able to shoot more into the sides of players rather than having like a bunker and then they're there. So you're shooting more into the player, which is obviously gonna be a lot better. So this is my usual home. We'll see after practice where it is that I end up, but the middle. So this one is a tall tower. So because of that, you're gonna be able to, my tall viewers, use that to your advantage. You have the can and the tower. They're both gonna be taller. You're gonna get different shots than I will. I'm kind of just average height, so it's not as easy for me to get shots that you guys can get. But this is awesome for shooting through here, through this gap, the first one, and you have the second one. So even if, let's say, you see them start to launch, you do have this next gap through here as well. And then you have the next one from the, we'll call that the Dorito 1, 2, 3, the 4 to 5. So that Dorito 4 to Dorito 5, passing that midpoint. That's going to be one that you can shoot as well. And with it being a tower, you can tuck in a little bit easier. They're a lot easier to fight out of. The disadvantage that you can't come up over the top, but you have just more bunker that's protecting you. And let's say they haven't gone out wide, shooting through here, you're going to be able to at least see what happens. So even if someone comes up into this brick, then you can easily go through, eliminate that player, and help out your Dorito side. I think Snake is still going to be pretty okay with this brick, but we'll see again. These drop shots I think are going to be pretty good. So over into the Aztec and the can, as well as into that brick. Now with this other can, you could even have it where, depending on where they're at, this guy can shoot either gap. They can shoot through this gap and through those. So they're able to sit there and really help out the Dorito side to slow the other team down. But they can also shoot into the snake a little bit more, especially if you see them dive into the snake. Maybe you want to take off from here to come here and then try to stand a little bit tall and wait for them to try to come across here. Could be an option. I think once you do that once or twice, they're gonna get keen to that. Maybe stop here or stop here and then shoot back at you. And then it's just a full-on battle to see, you know, who's gonna be able to do what. But because you can't really come to the brick, this pin is gonna block that shot. You can see it goes right into the middle. So it's not like it's, okay, they're fighting me, I'm gonna come here. You have the shot into the snake as well, and through if someone's trying to filter out. So there's a lot of no man's land through here, but you have options of maybe going up and then coming, going into the Aztec and then come up, or the little brick into the can. So a couple different things, but both of these I think are pretty solid. Both of them have good shots on that Dorito side. I think these three should be pretty solid to really slow down the Dorito. There are going to be some things that you can do, but yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. The brick itself, once they get past you, you're the guy that's going to be able to shoot that. But I mean, that's not good. I guess if you hear them in the snake 3 or snake 2, and then they're in the snake 3, it might be good for this guy just to switch or send someone. But let's say that your side is blown. This might be the only guy that can really do anything. And at least you can stand up a little bit, but yeah. Shooting through here and here is not as good. You have that shot going into the can, but again, well, actually, no, I take that back. You can shoot the heads up as well, so you can see someone try to leave and then roll off a little bit and shoot into this gap through here. So maybe they're trying to come up and across or whatever. You at least have eyes that way to see what's going on. And then this player is able to shoot down from the brick into this other brick. So I don't think that this is going to be something that stops anyone in the snake other than when they get to your side. But with them coming up through here, maybe you can catch a pack. That might be something. But like I had mentioned with these other ones, this brick is pretty solid for the Dorito side as well. So they can shoot through this gap. So let's say that no one did anything. You can come through here. You can also shoot through this gap and see if they are trying to leave from the little Dorito into that next Dorito. You can shoot through there. You can shoot into this gap. Now this is definitely one that you're gonna have to sit there and just pump paint. You can't catch someone through here. By the time you see them and pull the trigger, they're already in the Dorito. Now, maybe you do that on purpose and you let them get to that spot. Remember, there are some good shots from there, so I don't know if that'd be a great idea, but you could catch them in this next gap. Maybe they think that you're not there and they take off. You have a big gap through here that you're able to shoot players through. Okay, let's get over to the snake side. I'll start in the cake. The cake doesn't really seem all that great, to be honest. Whoa, my goodness. The cake doesn't seem that great. Watch someone prove me wrong. I know Dan Holiday likes to play, like I've seen him do before, like a little cake in the corner. Some people like to go around and up. So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be great to stop at, just because, yeah, you can shoot this gap, but there's other people that can do that, and they're closer, and they don't have to stay real tiny behind a little cake. And then you have to wrap to shoot into things. You can't shoot anything down the wire. I guess you could technically try to shoot blind through here to a mirror, but okay, then just come to the inside and crawl up, and that guy can't do anything. I don't know. It just doesn't seem that great. This Aztec has this shot as well. Again, my Dorito side players, you guys are gonna have issues getting up the Dorito side. There's a lot of people that can shoot these gaps. So it's gonna be real just sneaky, kind of use that spider sense and dive across when you can. But yeah, so shooting through, oh, well, actually we'll start here. So over the top of the brick, I think is gonna drop into this Dorito. Through here, you can shoot blind through this gap. So if someone's trying to filter out or, whatever. You have this shot through the little Dorito to this bigger Dorito, and then this shot, if someone is wrapping from here, you can shoot through here. It's a little bit larger, but it's possible. Shooting heads up, of course, you can shoot at both of the can and your mirror at the other Aztec, and then you have both shots. That's why I did the little dash. So you have the shot into this brick and then into the cake. I don't see a lot of people playing that. That's just me. Maybe we get out to the field and everyone goes there. Who knows? From this little brick, you do have that shot through here. So maybe there's someone that is really liking to come up real quick. Maybe you can match them. I don't know. But I think there's other bunkers that can do that just as well, and it's going to be closer. And then shooting through this gap and then through these two. Now, I have this dash because you can shoot into this brick and you can shoot into this gap. This is a super far shot, just remember that. So I wouldn't have this guy be the one that's trying to control the Dorito side. It's so far of a shot. Once you get put in, the guy can dive across. By the time you snap back out, it's just not gonna be great. You do have a wrap shot into this can, and then you have the wrap shot into the back center. Let's see. Oh, that's right, because then I went into the actual snake. And then what I did is I split it. So I did the snake, and I'm going to go into these other little bunkers here. So this snake one, you have that same, again, guys, these gaps are going to be the gaps of death. Actually, maybe all three of them. We'll have to see how it all plays out. But yeah, those gap calls that we've talked about, those are going to be important on this field. So you can shoot into that gap and that gap. I don't see it being that you dive here and then start shooting. I think it'd be better maybe this guy to come up and shoot through. That's just me, but maybe you have a quick snake player and you're trying to do something where you kind of trick people. They dive in and then are able to go ahead and shoot that cross shot. You can shoot into the brick as well as through this gap. And then if you wrap, which I don't know that I would do, but if you wrap, maybe there's a can that's posted, you can shoot into that can or into the back center. The blue lines is where we're going to go next for the snake 2. You have your heads up shot. So if there's someone that's trying to dive across into the brick, maybe there's no one that can help you on the tape. Well, at least this guy can see if anyone's going wide, but there's not like there's a whole lot they can do wide, but maybe you catch someone. Over the top, remember there's that little nub on the W. You can shoot back at the can. You can shoot over the top into the home. And then you do have some decent shots going into the middle and the Dorito side, but it's gonna just get better and better the further up you go. I don't know that I would necessarily stop there if I needed, unless I needed to. This 50 snake, so the green line, if you look through here, you have that gap. You're able to shoot through into this wing as well as into the Dorito. And then if you wrap, you have the home. You have both the brick and the Dorito one. And then once you get to their side, which this is where I think it's going to be, people are going to come, dive in, crawl, and just keep, if you hug it, you're pretty much safe. I don't really see, maybe the cans, like I said, might be able to shoot down, but I don't know. I don't know who's really going to stop it other than another snake player. This might be one of those snakes where you have to send 2, expecting that someone's going to go through, trade, and then the other guy needs to go clean up. But once you get to their snake 2, you have the shot into the brick, you have the shot into this wing, you have the shot into the other wing, you have the shot through this gap, through into the tower, the little brick, the Dorito, and then you have some other wrap shots. So that's going to be the spot, I think, for my snake players, that you're going to be able to do a lot of damage, but know that you have a lot of shots that can come back in on you as well. So it's not like a guaranteed you get here and you're going to eliminate 4 players. Because if there's someone already there, they better go around and just eliminate that player. So, it's just going to be kind of a war of attrition there. Now with this little brick that's over here, I thought that this was looking okay, but I think I would rather stay inside here. That's just me. We'll see how this weekend goes. But once you get into this brick, you do have some shots. Now I did it separately. You do have over the top shots as well, so don't forget about those. You're gonna have to look and see for you, what is it that you can see. You do have some, but again, if you're short, like you might not be able to see up over the top, or you have to do a jump shot. Might not be as effective, but if you're someone that's like 6 foot something, you can stand up over the top pretty easy. Well, that could be an option. Shooting into this wing, into the can, it's this gap that's going to be the issue for you, because that you can shoot. Yeah, it's not great, but once you get here, you have some decent inside shots, and then maybe you get some heat. You can crawl around, use this cake, kind of step out. I don't know how much people are really going to be shooting down the wire from this, but they might be here. But if you have a bigger bunker, well, you can kind of stand back a little bit, step out. You have some options to be able to drop through and maybe be able to catch some players there. All right, before we end off the video here, because I'm going longer than we're going a little bit long, but that's okay. It's usually how these things go. We're gonna go ahead and look at some possible bounce shots. Again, go through, check and see what works for you guys. Remember that sometimes there's gonna be subtle differences in the field. That's just the way that it is. So I just go from back to front. So from the back center, I think if you stand up tall, you might be able to bounce it off the other home into the other can. This one's gonna be kind of light, but maybe you can catch someone in the pack. I don't know how great that's gonna be, but test it, see how it might work out. I just realized that there's another one that I didn't even think about. I think from the god, you might be able to shoot off the other god, or whatever it is that you're calling this Aztec, if you're calling that god, whatever. Just say the Aztec, off there into the home. That could be something. See, you learn something new all the time. From the brick, maybe there's a player that did make it in. Well, you might be able to skip it off the bottom section there and it bounce across into there. From the snake, if there is someone in the brick, I think you're going to be able to bounce it off there pretty easy. Now they're going to have to back off, but that might push them into this bounce shot, which I think is going to bounce maybe too far back or go into the bunker, but you know, it doesn't hurt just to look. Bounce it off the pin into that player there. Let's see. And then from this wing, if you wrap, I think you can bounce it off this pin. You're probably gonna have to shoot more this side for it to shoot more across and go across into there, or from this Dorito. Now, maybe you can just shoot the guy heads up, but maybe he's posted on you and you can just stick out a little bit, bounce it off, and go ahead and do that. But guys, that is my first impressions. So tell me what it is that you guys think in the comments down below. And I will see you all in Philly. Yes, I will be there. Please, guys, go over to punisherspb.com, support those that support the channel, and also don't forget to enter for the M3 Plus giveaway that's benefiting a nonprofit that's helping kids and others down in Haiti. So I will see you all in the future, and as always, remember, watch, learn, win. Thanks.